go on to 3.12, Chancellor's reports. Dr. Walters? Walter?
Hi, good evening. President Reese, excuse me, Vice President Gonzalez UN, guests, panelists, and colleagues. Thank you for being here this evening. And I just want to say one thing before I ask the presidents to go ahead and talk to us, and that is to congratulate our tenured faculty. It is a monumental milestone. And when we were listening to some of the faculty give their stories about how the tenure occurred for them, it has been a significant journey. So I want to echo the congratulations. And as we are normally wont to do here, I will ask the presidents to give brief reports, and then I will come in after they are concluded. And so tonight, again, we will start with, we'll start with Angélica Garcia, Dr. Angélica Garcia, President of Berkeley City College.
Thank you, Dr. Walter.
As usual, you guys, if you would like for me to share the screen with your reports, please let me know.
Thank you, Maisha. That will not be necessary. The comments for this evening are in addition to that. Good evening, members of the board, fellow colleagues, and community members. My oral report comments for this evening are focusing on key areas related to accreditation update, enrollment management, and time permitting, one update on work for associate degree for transfer, an AB that's on the Senate floor for that. So the first is that BCC, along with our sister colleges, recently completed our ACCJC comprehensive site visit. Our visit was a resounding success and served as an example of the tireless work and focus to ensure that BCC met all of the standards and eligibility requirements for accreditation. Our team chair, Dr. Keith Curry, shared that the team's appreciation for the hospitality, collegiality, and professionalism they encountered throughout the BCC community was incredibly warm. They noted our BCC pride and the many ways in which faculty, classified professionals, and administrators work to support the mission, vision, and values not only of Berkeley City College, but also of the Peralta Community College District. Our commitment to serving students and the local community came through with our BCC pride. As many of you know, the accreditation process fosters institutional self-reflection. It includes areas for continuous improvement. So while BCC successfully met all of the standards, the team did note 2 recommendations for improvement. And those recommendations include ongoing work of assessing and disaggregating our outcomes for student assessment and program assessment level, and the completion of a formal evaluation of our governance processes. In true Berkeley City College fashion, we will come together as a community to establish a plan for addressing these recommendations over the next few months. I do want to highlight that the college received 2 recommended commendations for our exemplary work and service to students. The first is related to the college's mission, vision, and values in being student-centered. And the commendation goes to our BCC live chat program, which I'm incredibly proud of because it's staffed by student ambassadors in the Student Activities and Campus Life Department. And you can find this live chat on our main homepage. I like to drop in every now and then just to say hello to students there. The second commendation is also described as meeting the mission, vision, and values by exhibiting the integration of our instructional and student services, our academic pathways and curriculum with student support systems that really serve as our exemplary transfer completion outcomes. So these 2 commendations we were incredibly proud of, and more work and information to follow as the weeks progress. We will wait for the final meeting in June, as that is the official report and decision of the commission. The list of colleagues to congratulate is long, but I do want to acknowledge that it was, the many hands make light work. And I'm sure that some of my colleagues might question the light work portion, but they would agree that it was a true community effort. Related to enrollment management, I wanted to respond to the board's comments where you asked last time for just a little bit additional information related to dual enrollment, retention, and completion. So what I want to highlight that for Berkeley City College, our dual enrollment efforts have grown over the past 4 years, from 4 sections in the 2017-18 year to 42 sections in the 2021. This means for us that we have grown from generating 18 FTES to 104 FTES. And compared to the 1920 data, high school students enrolled in 65% more classes this year than they did last year. And so we are definitely seeing growth in dual enrollment. And in future board meetings, we're going to see our CCAP agreements coming for board support and endorsement. Also want to address the question about completion and retention, and by disaggregation, how some of our student populations were faring. And so I'm proud to report that BCC experienced an overall average of 3% increase for both retention and completion. Retention went from 81% to 84%, and completion went from 67% to 70%. Now, when we compare the fall 2019 to fall 20, this is an important one. African-American students' completion rate increased by 7%, from 57% to 64%. So we feel incredibly proud for continuing to work on closing those equity gaps. And in the same year, fall 19 to 20, Latinx students' completion rate increased by 8%. Our retention rates are faring strong, from 79.3% for African American students, with our highest being 89.4% for Asian Americans. And Latinx are at 80%, Pacific Islanders also around 80%. And lastly, what I just want to share is that another question that was asked was whether we were seeing a decline of either first gen or students of color. That is not the case. In fact, our composition grew for Latinx students from 26.3% to 27%, and have remained readily steady for African American students. We have seen a growth in female students. So ultimately, the big takeaway, and I know I've shared this in several reports, is that we are in fact seeing more students this year. They're just enrolling in fewer courses, and there's a lot of data to support the why. So with that, I just want to close that Berkeley City College continues to be a champion for transfer pathways. And recently, I had the opportunity to contribute to a press release related to AB 928. Sponsored by Senator Berman, and that's in relation to the associate degree for transfer. So looking forward to seeing not only Berkeley City College, but the Peralta Community College District coming out in support of those efforts that provide equitable access to the associate degree for transfer, and call for the California Community College system, the CSU system, and the UC system to get our act together to do our work and eliminate the transfer maze for students. And I just want to close again with congratulating our 3 newly tenured faculty, Fatima Shah, Dr. Michael Orkin, and Alejandra Oseguera. Thank you, Dr. Walter. That concludes my comments for this evening.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Garcia. We're going to come back for questions, all right? We're going to move on, though, for the moment to Dr. Nathaniel Jones III, and he'll give us his report for College of Alameda.
Thank you. Maisha, may I have the ability to share a screen, please?
I believe you can as the panelist.
Okay, very good.
You might want to speak just a tad louder, Dr. Jones.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Chancellor Walter, and guests. It's my pleasure to make the report for the College of Alameda. Like my sister colleague, I wanted to start with an overview of the accreditation site visit. We had our visiting team here last week, led by Dr. Juliana Barnes. And so we also were found to have fully met all of the accrediting standards. We were praised for the beauty and the quality of our institutional self-evaluation report. The team is recommending commendation for our love, commitment, and support of our diverse students aimed at advancing the College of Alameda's mission. We had no recommendations for improvements. I'd like to thank our students, faculty, staff, and administrators, and especially our ALO, Dr. Tina Vasconcelos, for their dedication, their hard work reflected in the successful site visit, but also in the high quality of our ICER. Cougars, great job. I am so proud of you for all that you've done and how well you've represented our college to our colleagues. Next, I'd like to provide a brief report on enrollment management. As you can see, in 2019-20, we had a target of 3,269 FTS distributed over summer, fall, and spring. 327 for summer, 1,471 for fall and spring. In the summer, we had about 11 over our target. In fall, 149. We fell short by 148 FTS. Spring, which was the first term in which we experienced the impacts of the pandemic, we fell short of our target by about 252 FTS, bringing the total shortfall for our college at about 390. For this academic term, we have 3,003 as our target. It should be noted that all three terms, summer, fall, and spring, have been impacted by the pandemic. For summer, we fell short of our target by 8 FTS. Fall, 195. And for spring, we are projecting to have a shortfall of 176 FTS. What you will see is that for fall, last year we had 90% of target. This year, 86%. For spring, we had 83% of target. This year, 87%. Those are improvements as compared to last year in many ways. For fall, we weren't in the pandemic, but this fall we were. And yet the percent of our target achieved was 86 as compared to 90. These results were not by accident. They were the product of intentional, thoughtful enrollment management engagement strategies that we've undertaken as a college. We focused on student-centeredness in terms of our services, redesigning our website, launching a call center, targeting our advertising and outreach efforts, as well as establishing a virtual enrollment hub, expanding student support, 24/7 counseling, financial aid chat services, providing resources to students, Chromebooks, calculators, and so forth. We've also made very, very significant efforts to grow our dual enrollment programs for the spring, also for next year. We've increased spring intersession and late start classes. And we expect that these efforts will increase our FTS by an additional 150, giving us the shortfall that has been projected. Further, we are increasing our retention efforts through focusing on our specialty program, Acceso and Puente, Veterans Workshop, Umoja programs, Welcome Week, as well as Black History Month events and Valentine's Day events. Also sponsoring equity program and training for our faculty and staff. Additionally, we are carefully analyzing data and information that came from consultants so that we can refine and launch additional strategies that will garner increases in our enrollment. Further, we are engaging in dialogue and conversation across the college about ways in which we all can meaningfully seek to turn the tide, as it were to speak, in terms of the decline in enrollment. As a matter of fact, today I presented to our chairs data on our enrollment declines and began having a conversation with them on ways in which we can meaningfully seek to address these issues. At our Faculty Flex on the 18th, we'll be making a similar presentation, again, sharing data and looking at what are the key drivers that are influencing our decline in enrollment. Are they internal? Are they external? We will seek to identify root causes and to develop concrete data-driven strategies to mitigate them. Lastly, I would like to say that I want to congratulate our newly tenured faculty members for achieving a very, very momentous milestone. I would like to congratulate Professor Andrew Park, Richard Kaiser, and John Taylor. Congratulations, one and all. Thank you very much for your time this evening. And this concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Next, we will have Dr. Rudy Besikof, President of Laney College.
Good evening, Chancellor, members of the board, and colleagues of education. It's great to see everyone this evening. Can you all see my screen okay?
Sure.
Okay. Well, while I'm getting settled here, I just want to share one announcement. We're very pleased to announce a newly found partnership with National University, formerly JFK University, to offer free mental health services. There will be 3 interns working at the college, one of whom is bilingual in English and Spanish. So I think this is really an exciting opportunity and partnership as we work to support our students. I wanted to, just like my colleagues, touch on a couple things tonight. Number 1, enrollment, and then number 2, our accreditation. So before you have our enrollment numbers, and certainly they tell a difficult story when it comes to this year and the impact of the pandemic. When you think about a number of what they call hard to meet online programs, whereas colleges may have 3 or 4 disciplines, we've got basically around 16 of them. And it's really been a challenge. And as we've tried to do that and reconcile safety, one of the things we've had to do, and of course this has impacted our numbers, is have seats with lower class maximums. And just as a point of comparison, whereas a year ago in spring, we opened spring 2020 with only 3 sections capped below 20. This spring semester, we have 20 sections, or basically 7 times that, with low caps. And certainly, we are trying to navigate and move forward. And we really do look forward to meeting the challenge of bringing some more of our classes on campus as conditions permit, and gearing up our campus for that, just as we do our summer and fall planning. 2 things I would like to highlight, though. Our dual enrollment is something that has certainly increased in the last year, and you'll see that we actually have, whereas we had previously offered about 14 or 15 sections per semester, we're now offering between 28 and 30 if you look at our last 2 semesters. Certainly, this is an opportunity to bring colleges to the high schools and bring them to the students, and it's something where we are leveraging those opportunities and remain grateful to our OUSD and charter school partners for that. Also, with March 22nd around the corner, that's going to be an exciting day at Laney College, because we are going to be launching 53 late starting sections, which should, I'm projecting, add another 5% toward our enrollment target. These are, as we look at these right now, actually, of the 53, 21 are full, and we have several others that are well above the halfway mark in terms of enrollment. Annually, spring late starting courses do seem to be a target for Laney students, something that they want, and that's a need we will certainly continue to meet as we move forward. Also, as we move closer to the 22nd, we're going to be upping our game with a social media campaign promoting our late starting courses, and not just the courses, but the services available to students, whether it be our counseling or things such as our laptop distribution or food distribution as well. So really, this is a time to move forward and be strong, and it's something we look forward to. And certainly, speaking of things we look forward to, I am so pleased to share our accreditation outcomes with you this evening. Dr. Pam Luster, who chaired our visiting team, she's president at San Diego Mesa College. In our closing conversation, she said, "Rudy, the college has a lot to be proud of." And, you know, talk about telling me something I already knew. I think that was the case. We got 3 very strong commendations from the visiting team. First of all, our COVID response and how we've moved and pivoted to support students. And certainly that is something across our organization where kudos are to be given out, whether it's our many faculty who pivoted to move instruction online or set up protocols and take steps to have a safe on-campus experience, and especially recognizing Director Amy Marshall for her work in making sure that not just the classrooms were safe, but our campus in general was as well. That was something for which we were actually commended. You've heard me in this meeting sing the praises of guided pathways and recognition. Well, we got one more for that from the visiting team. We were actually commended for our guided pathways work, the fact that it's integrated into our strategic enrollment management plan. Also, our participation in the statewide program mapper project and the program maps that we show students and give them the opportunity to backwards plan. And it's something that's great, and it's certainly become an anchor at our college. And then finally, this one's kind of sneaky good. We were commended for our college planning. And if you think about that, that's actually something that's really a commendation for all of our participatory governance work at Laney College. From our senates to our shared governance committees, to our college council, to all that we do when it comes to consultation and really honoring the tenets of shared governance, and something that's important. We did receive recommendations, although I'm happy to say they're recommendations for improvement and not for compliance, meaning that we don't have to submit follow-up reports or anything like that, thankfully. We actually self-identified the areas you see before you: distance education, as well as assessment and program review. Essentially, the visiting team agreed with us that we are on the right track, but that we still have a distance to go when it comes to making improvements within these areas. So I don't want to close tonight by sounding like an acceptance speech at the Oscars, but before you, I think you can see there are a lot of people at Laney College to thank. Back in fall 2019, we used to get together on Friday mornings to work on accreditation, and it was the coffee and donut group. And really, the total number of people who literally put hands and gave input into our self-evaluation report totaled 82. And I certainly miss buying the $5 Friday morning donut special for the dozen and bringing them for work. Our senates definitely, as we vetted, gave their input and certainly did that. And our associated students of Laney College also got compliments from the visiting team for their participation in the visit. I have to say thank you to our college vice presidents who took charge of the standards in terms of providing administrative support. I think especially Vice President Derek Pinto for our resource standard, Standard 3, and then also Vice President Vicki Ferguson for her work on Standard 1, and also informing a lot of things in student services. From the names that you see here, you might see one that you recognize, Maisha Jameson. Despite her very busy workload at the district and certainly serving as the board clerk, she did make time to help us with our last bits of evidence, and also made a guest appearance at one of the accreditation interviews, and certainly told the story of the college in very fine fashion. Karen Telligan has been someone who's provided all the support for what we did in our report, be it links or whatever there was. I'm sure Trustee Reese could probably speak to the value of a current website that's got links, and our public information officer, Lorena Baldazzo, certainly did that. And then finally, the two biggest words of thanks I'd like to give are to our faculty accreditation coordinator, Professor Chris Weidenbach, who put in hours and hours of work helping to write our report. And then most recently, our accreditation liaison officer, our Director of Information Technology Services, Rupinder Bhatia, really was the steadying force who really made our visit go and made everything work. And just her previous experience with accreditation really made it clear that she needed to lead us as our ALO during this process. So it really was a great visit. It was an all Laney visit and something very collaborative. And with that, I'll close my report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Besikof. And not least at all, we will turn now to Dr. David Johnson, President of Merritt College.
Thank you, Chancellor. I appreciate you. So good evening to our board president, trustees, Peralta employees, students, and community members. Just want to thank you for allowing me to share my impressions of the accreditation peer review team visit and discuss my thoughts regarding the current state and future direction of enrollment management at Merritt College. So last Thursday, the team concluded their evaluation of our institution. And making their appraisal, they considered our ICER, requested and assessed additional evidence, met with faculty, students, and administrators, and held campus forums. So I am pleased to share with you that the peer review visiting team concluded that Merritt College met every single accreditation standard. And by that, what I mean is that they did not identify a single finding or recommendation for Merritt College, which is amazing. Not a single thing. So this is certainly a cause for celebration, but not a call for complacency, because we understand that there's more work to be done and we are girding ourselves for what lies ahead. But at the same time, I believe that the visiting team's evaluation of our institution brings one thing into sharper focus, and that is the progress we can make, the heights we can reach when we do the work together as a team. So with that said, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for their focus, their hard work, their intelligence, their skill in getting Merritt to this point. I want to say to the administrative team and the faculty and classified accreditation standard leads, thank you for your indispensable contributions. To our ASMC leadership, I want to recognize you for making certain that your voices were heard. I also need to recognize our Chancellor, Chancellor Walter, the district administration and staff, and the board of trustees for your collective willingness, particularly the board president, to support Merritt College and provide information and perspective. And finally, I want to thank the members of the accreditation and ICER task force, as they were really the ones that did the heavy lifting. Our ALO, Dr. Denise Richardson, Dr. Hillary Altman, the chair of our accreditation committee, Tom Renbarker, Dan Lawson, Stephanie Harding, Tashetta Henry, and the author of our report, Mr. Neem Tai. So with that said, I'd like to turn our attention to the matter of enrollment. And I know over the past few meetings, this board has been presented with charts and graphs and statistics, and it's very dizzying. And I didn't want to do a data dump, but I do want to share a couple of things with you. First, that for the spring 2021 semester, Merritt's resident FTES is 1,362.96, which is roughly 82% of our target. We have late start classes as well, so we hope to close in on 100%. I can also point out that for the 2021 academic year, our productivity stands at a little over 14, and that we stayed within our budget by not exceeding the district FTF allocation. I know that there was a particular question about enrollment for students of color, and the news is sobering. From fall 19 to fall 20, enrollment for African American students fell by 17%. For Latinx, it fell by 15%. For Asian Pacific Islanders, it fell by 8%. And for white students, it actually increased by 7%. So I'd rather spend the rest of my time, instead of analyzing the data, to talk about what we're going to do about enrollment. So broadly speaking, we're planning on focusing on 3 areas. Number one, improving our marketing efforts. And this includes being more effective at utilizing our website as a recruitment tool. We've already done a complete refresh in terms of aesthetics, but the focus going forward will be on improving functionality and targeted messaging. We're also working to implement a plan to expand our social media presence. And I also believe that employing a PIO, albeit a classified position, to work closely with Mark Johnson, our Director of Marketing, Communications, and Public Relations, will also bolster our outreach and recruitment strategies. Number two, we need to simplify the matriculation process. I think in addition to attracting new students to Merritt College, we're going to focus on utilizing technology, whether it's online tutorials or software, to facilitate the onboarding, admission, registration, and financial aid processes. We're committed to doing a better job of following up with those who have expressed interest in Merritt but didn't apply, have applied but have yet to meet with a counselor, or maybe have met with a counselor but still haven't enrolled. So we want to minimize what I'm calling the slippage and always keep that matriculation momentum moving forward. I think bringing on the Dean of Enrollment Services and bolstering staffing levels in admissions and records and financial aid are critical first steps. And finally, the importance of keeping students here once they're enrolled. Here our focus will be on providing students with the support and resources they need to be successful. We're going to significantly increase the amount of CARES money that goes directly to our students. We're going to supplement our current SEA, our Student Equity and Achievement budget, to spend more money on FYE and Puente and Sankofa programs. It's important for us to invest in our faculty in the sense that bringing on new positions in our core academic programs, providing training opportunities so we can honestly say that our instructors are the best prepared in the state, and then also meeting the mental health needs of our students by hiring a full-time faculty member in health services. And I think all of these steps will reinforce the culture of care for which Merritt is known, and this in turn will allow us to attract and retain more of our students. So in closing, we intend to completely revise our strategic enrollment management plan so that it is more reflective of the new educational landscape and thereby more responsive to the needs of our students. And our revised SIM plan and our subsequent efforts are going to be informed by the feedback garnered from the enrollment consultant with whom the district is contracted, as well as the upcoming UCSD Enrollment Academy that all the colleges will be attending. So this concludes my report for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. And so, President Reese, I'll leave it to you to see if there are questions from the trustees regarding the president's reports, and then I'll circle back with a brief closing remark.
Thank you, Chancellor Walter. Trustees, do we have any brief questions so that we can get back to the agenda? Let us know, please, if you have any questions or comments for the amazing presidents. Trustee Gonzalez, UN.
You know, there was so much protein in that dish that was just served us. I don't know how to say anything briefly of substance. So I'll just say I'm really proud of you all. I'm proud of your staffs, your faculty, and most particularly your students. I've got a lot of questions on the success data, on the enrollment data, but this isn't the time or place. I look forward to digging in. And in particular, where we have successes, for me personally, it would be really helpful to understand why we have the successes, not just the numbers, but if we see significant increases in success and retention, like at BCC, understanding what's going on there better, I think can only be of value to the whole district and to us as a board. So anyway, I'm going to stop. Thank you. I look forward to a deeper discussion at some future time.
Trustee Jolina Bonilla.
Yes, I will also be brief. I want to echo Trustee Gonzalez's sentiments and what he shared. I also just want to take my hat off to the college presidents and each and every one of your team members who contributed to such an amazing interaction with the ACCJC team that came out. One of the things that I heard from you all was owning and identifying where your challenges are. And that's always the first step in improving your performance and your outcomes. And so when you know where your deficits or where your challenges are, you have a light in front of you, you know exactly where you're going. And that's what I heard from all four of you. So I take my hat off to you, to all four colleges and your teams. Just bravo. This is really good. And I do look forward to deeper discussions as we move into the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Bonilla. And I see Trustee Withrow's hand up, literal hand up.
My hand electronically is not working. I just want to add that I'm very proud of all four colleges. I think it's fantastic, the achievement under the most dire set of circumstances and environmental set. But again, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then I will just make one comment very, very quickly. And I will just say that it is not lost on me that all four colleges did such a monumentally significant job, given the fact, as the report out said, that there are significant problems with Standard 3 and Standard 4. So if the four colleges are able to do as amazing a job as you all have been able to do, given the problems with the district, that is not lost on me, because that is not insignificant. That is amazing and exciting and really rare. And I'll just say hallelujah, and also my hat's off to all of you. And I would also like to say thank you, Dr. Johnson, for saying that this was incredible and the work continues, right? And often people, after the ACCJC visits are done, we become complacent. We can't do that because there's still so much more work to do. So we're here to support you, and we're here to do the hard work that we, as the board, have to work on ourselves, as well as the district. So thank you all. Okay, Chancellor, tell me.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I do agree that everyone should be feeling very proud about the virtual site visit. And for those people who may not be aware of that, all of these visits were done by Zoom. And so we're in times when we're not in a shelter-in-place pandemic environment, all of these things would be happening with people having collegial meetings, and there would be food and all sorts of things. But all of these meetings took place seemingly around the clock, during those 4 days. So very good, very wonderful job. And President Reese mentioned a couple of issues around the district and the it's Standard 3 and Standard 4, which is governance. So we'll be working on those. I just want to also outline a couple of sort of sketch points for you, so you'll know what to expect. We will hear back from the visiting team via the decision or the outcome from the commission meeting, which is happening middle of June or so. So we should hear the status of the district of the colleges, somewhere between the end of June and the middle of July. So you can be expecting that. And it's just that's the regular process, and that's where we are, and we're in it. So very good work. And I want to also thank everyone again for all that they did in helping us to get to this point, which is an amazing point. So the only other couple of comments I have to say are about the return to work plans. We are working on those, and thank you so much, Terrence Fisher, for bringing that out. We are working on those. We were talking about that yesterday again, and we're going to be bringing forward the plans, and we're going to be working to make sure we have all of the adequate materials to do that. And so that's forthcoming. And we are also going to be letting people know what we consider to be our modalities for instruction for the summer and fall here pretty soon, probably tomorrow. And I really do want to thank the board as well for all that they've done to help bring us to this point. We are still in COVID-19 shelter-in-place pandemic, and we're all doing an excellent job given the constraints that we're in. So once again, thank you. Thank everyone for all of your efforts, and back to you, President Reese.
Sorry about that. All right, thank you for that. Let us move on to let's proceed to the consent calendar. If we could go to